Good morning, or whenever it is you are watching this video, and welcome back to Crazy Creations. Today I shall be redrawing another of my older drawings. This time, the artwork will be accompanied by an original story of one of the characters' adventures. There will also be some design notes at the end if there is still enough time. The captions are also hopefully going to stay, as I do tend to mumble during these videos. I hope to keep this format as a permanent thing because it may be more engaging for the viewers. Other than that, please like and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and make sure to leave a comment on what can be done to improve my videos. I hope you enjoy the show. DrillFinger had been the most nervous he had been ever since he had joined the Little Insects Livelihood Organization. He was going on his second mission after months and months and months of vigorous training to make sure that he would be safe in the field. He wasn't as nervous as he would have been if he had gone alone, which is why he was currently waiting outside the entrance of an enormous cave system for his mission partner. He didn't know who his partner was going to be, seeing as the organization which they both worked for assigned these missions almost at random. The mission partners in question would normally meet at the organization headquarters and then be taken to the mission location via the organization jet. If one of the agents is closer to the mission location in question, he or she is to wait for their partner outside the designated area at which the mission is to be contained and run within. The reason he's actually nervous is mainly because he has never really interacted with many people that often. Even during his organization get-togethers, he doesn't really talk to that many people, seeing as he is considered the new guy, or considers himself the new guy. As a result of this, he doesn't really spend that much time with anyone else in his organization, even members he has met on his first mission. This made him feel as though interactions between his organization members would be rather awkward, seeing as it would be almost as though the new guy would be talking to you out of the blue, expecting you to be friends. Or so he thought. Cutting through his spiraling thoughts and insecurities on talking with his co-workers came the most heart-wrenching cry he had ever heard from any living being. DrillFinger jumped, uncertain whether he should enter the cave system from which the heart-curling cry had come from. He knew that once he left his post, it would be difficult for his mission partner to find him, and thus lead to him being scolded. But once the cry came even louder this time, he knew that he couldn't stay put for long and decided to go forth into the treacherous caves. As DrillFinger proceeded to run faster and faster down the almost endless cave system, he heard the cries come louder and louder and louder. He was unsure what he was even doing right now, and unsure what he was going to do once he found out where the cries came from. After minutes of running down the winding tunnel systems, he heard another scream and decided that he had to do something to get there even faster. He closed his fist into their drill-like form, hence his name, and proceeded to jump up into the air as if he was diving into a swimming pool. Once he hit the ground, his drills got to work. He was suddenly moving even quicker through the ground than when he was on his feet, cracking and crumbling debris and rock as his drills, with help from the momentum of his jump, helped him propel himself further and further underground. Sooner or later, he came across cavern, then proceeded to fall 50 feet until he finally crashed to the ground, luckily not receiving any injuries or concussions due to his naturally high durability levels. That, however, doesn't necessarily mean that the fall didn't hurt a lot. When he finally got up, he took a good long view of his surroundings. From what he saw, he found himself in what seemed like an underground city, half the size of New York. He knew from his briefing on this mission that this was the underground city of Insectopolis. This metropolitan city is home to 8-foot-tall insectoid beings, renowned for their might, size, and military capability. This is the main reason why the leader of the Little Insects Livelihood Organization chose not to tell the United Nations about this underground civilization. This also served as a further reminder to DrillFinger how misleading their organization name really was. Once he was able to get up and moving, he found his way to a bridge that connected where he was to the city over an enormous gorge. He crossed this bridge while debating how he was going to solve the situation he came here to solve, and how he was going to deal with the wrath of the organization leader. He trekked on, looking for any signs of life of this admittedly alarmingly sized group or society of insects, with little to no luck, unfortunately. Instead, he came across a group of smaller versions of the insects he hopes to find there, which, was somewhat refreshing for him, but he knew that was odd, seeing as he didn't really have a specific fear of insects. He then, more strangely, noticed the pink dust wafting about the place. He sniffed the air to find that this wasn't something natural of these caves. He knew this because A, he spent most of his free time in caves learning their scents, sounds, and etc. And B, there was a certain creature within their organization database who he knew would be a problem if they actually were here. He then, unfortunately, found his answer to this realization. Duck as quickly as possible as a puff of pink crystalline dust shot towards him at almost immeasurable speeds. He looked back up to see what the cause was, and as he had feared, it was indeed the threat he was hoping not to come across on this venture. The 5'8", baby-faced, pink, fairy-like creature with a baby rattle for a tail approached DrillFinger. This was Kinderdust, one of the many, many creatures that should have joined the Little Insects organization, but rather chose not to for her own reasons. Before she could even start gloating about her victory, DrillFinger was dragged through the rock by an energy field. Was dragged to an underground cavern even below that of this insectoid city and landed to the ground, now face to face with his mission partner and one of the few people he actually has talked to in his organization, Glitch Ghost. DrillFinger, now remembering the shame he felt at leaving his mission partner where he should have been waiting for him, quickly tried to get back up to apologize to Glitch Ghost for leaving him at the rendezvous point. Glitch Ghost, however, with his arm crossed, knew what DrillFinger was about to say and decided to comfort him rather than scold him. DrillFinger felt relief wash over him as he now knew that he didn't really have to worry about anything. Except, of course, the threat of Kinderdust. The two protagonists now found themselves standing in a cavern which was being rattled and shaken by the rustling and rampant movement of something. And not too long after this occurrence, Kinderdust had found them. A fierce battle broke out between the two opposing teams. Kinderdust, with her ability to turn people into infant versions of themselves, tried to use this power on both Glitch Ghost and DrillFinger, but was unsuccessful. She then proceeded to use her army to try and restrain them. This is not really something Kinderdust should be able to accomplish though, which then sets DrillFinger and Glitch Ghost on edge for the rest of the battle. Able to then easily take down Kinderdust's forces and eventually find their way to her. Unable to get to her via her strategic use of her dust abilities to keep them at bay, DrillFinger had the idea of drilling into the ground to get behind her and then restrain her via the handcuffs that Glitch Ghost had. Ghost didn't really seem to have a problem with this plan, and so it went into motion. DrillFinger then did his pool dive leap into the ground and then sprung out behind Kinderdust and landed on top of her, restraining her in the process. Ghost then proceeded to handcuff her, and then the both of them decided to escort her out of the city before figuring out a solution to their infant problem with the insectoids. Once this was done, DrillFinger thanked Glitch Ghost for his help, and the both of them took Kinderdust to the organization, wrote a detailed brief on the events that had occurred. Now, with the limited time that I gave myself for the design notes, I didn't really have that much to say. The colors were, as per usual, a fight, and so was the line art. But then again, line art. It was still very, 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 very fun to make this artwork, and I really hope you like how it turned out. Please mind the audio, I don't have a mic, and I really hope you enjoyed the video thus far. By the way, I don't really record me drawing the background because it would be taking too long and it would be another 20-minute video. Other than that, yeah. This is Crazy Creations, signing out.